Hey everybody, this is Devon Francis, also known as Leonard Meltzner.
I still don't have anything clever to say.
It's been a week, Victoria.
It's been an
hour.
Week. It's been an hour.
It's been a week.
It's been
a week. What are we talking about today, Victoria?
You ripped off all my lip gloss.
I'm sorry. What are you... at least my hands won't dry out now.
Hi, that's Devon, and I don't have any lip gloss.
What are we talking about today? What are we talking about today? Clock's running, Victoria.
We were talking about the Imagination Station third book, A Peril in the Palace.
Written by...
I thought you dabbed for a moment there. I was thinking, what kind of clue is that?
I was trying to help you because it's written at the top of the thing, so I figured you would just look up and read it, and...
you tell me not to screen cheat.
That's true. Written by Marianne Herring and Paul McCusker.
I took notes of a sort. Whenever I do the books, I always write notes. Devon on Skype, so I'm going to read those as we go through.
So we start out with a prologue, just like with the last book. First sentence, they're sticking with a Wit's End as a house thing, which, while still true, is still highly misleading.
It is.
This prologue was an amazing feat of writing. The sentences are also short. I felt like I was reading a Dick and Jane book.
Do you want to give an example?
The sentences are so short, there is not a single comma on the entire first page across over 10 sentences. Listen to this. There is I need to check. I don't think I actually wrote down how many. Was it 10 pages that it was, I think?
I don't know. What are you talking about?
No, it was 6 pages. 6 pages the prologue is. The sentence, 2 cousins, Patrick and Beth, came to visit him, is the only sentence in those 6 pages that has commas in it. I'm surprised they didn't write out that sentence as, there are 2 cousins, their names are Beth and Patrick. Patrick and Beth came to visit him.
Why don't you read one page?
I'll read one page so you can understand what these sentences sound like. I'll pick this one. Oh, this takes so long to load. So here's the first sentence, or the first page, which is like half a page here, and just listen to these sentences. There is an old house in the town of Odyssey, period. It's called Wit's End, period. Kids love it, period. It has an ice cream shop, period. It also has a lot of rooms with games and displays, period. There are exciting things to do at Wit's End, period. Kids have fun and learn there, period. Mr. Whittaker owns Wit's End, period. He is a kind yet mysterious inventor, period. One of his inventions is the Imagination Station, period.
Okay, so, hold on to that thought. Don't look.
Like, it literally, even as I was reading it, just for expediency's sake, I was reading it inflecting commas when I said period, because so many of these sentences should not all be separate sentences. Putting commas, sentences can be more complex than this. This goes on for 6 pages, and there's only one sentence in those whole 6 pages, which has a comma, and even then it's 2 cousins, Patrick and Beth, came to visit him. The writing is so inane. Oh my goodness. It's gotten so much worse since the previous
one. You want to read a page from Magic Treehouse third book?
Okay. It's still here, said Jack. It looks empty, said Annie. Jack and his 7-year-old sister gazed up at a very tall oak tree. At the top of the tree was a large treehouse. Late morning sunlight lit the woods. It was almost time for lunch. Shh, said Jack. Was that noise? What noise? I heard a noise, Jack said. He looked around. It sounded like someone coughing. It's basically the same. Maybe a little bit better, but...
I thought it would be better. It's the same. The sentences are really short here, too.
So...
I don't see any commas except for when they're talking.
So Whit gives the kids items again to use. I would really like to know how Whit has this mysterious divine knowledge of when the kids are going to need to use certain items, enough that he can write cryptic tags on them to hint at their eventual use.
He wrote the programs, didn't he?
But they're not programs, is the point in the series. Once again, this would make incredible amounts of sense if, like... they were using something that remotely resembled the real canon imagination station, where they were going on an adventure that was programmed and being digitally expressed on their mindscapes that Whit had written in advance. Whatever, I guess.
So basically, the kids are getting dressed at this point, and I sent Devon this message. These children are going to be brutally murdered, because I saw that the Mongols were going to be like...
Victoria, actually, very eloquent timing. Eloquent is a word.
Yeah.
Eloquent and elegant is, yeah. Timing. Victoria just finished in her Chinese history class.
Yeah, I just finished the Mongol unit, so... I put, these children are going to be brutally murdered by Mongol warriors. And Whit's all like, make sure you get me that tablet, kids. Lol. And...
yeah, speaking of which, I like how Whit's like, I'm sorry I have to put you kids through this. Patrick's like, we're cool with the danger. How many kids get to meet Vikings and Romans? And Whit should have been like, normally literally everyone who comes into Whit's End, except for the danger, because normally this isn't real-time travel. And you literally have this the worst of anyone ever in history.
This has to do with, like, Devon's comment about the beginning. I was supposed to be doing, like, readings for my classes the next day, but I was just
Which class were the readings for?
Both my English classes.
Okay.
But I didn't. But I'm good at improv, so I'm good at pretending I did my readings and asking questions. Anyway, so Devon...
They're like, what did you think of page whatever? And you're like, excuse me, I know what I'm talking about.
So anyway, Devon said, go finish your readings. I said, I don't have enough time to do my readings and I'm too lazy and tired right now. So I'm going to read something that matches my effort level. Do you think that one day if I practice my blatant plagiarism well enough, I can get on the level of writing that these books have? And Devon said, no, it is unattainable.
Unattainable.
But thank God I'm safe then. Why doesn't Whit go with them again?
Which leads into my...
You call this ring gaudy. It is.
I've called it that every time, I think. Why Whit doesn't go with him leads into my next point, which is I like the idea that Mabel is locking Whit out of the imagination station because she's just bitter that he left the remote control behind in ancient England.
I would be.
And she's just angry at him for, like, losing her stuff. And so she's like, no, you can't use me now.
And he's like...
Build me a new remote.
Where is my remote? And she's just like, I put it away.
I am your imagination station. I am the greatest good you will ever get.
About Whit's giving them things, I put, gosh darn it, he just gave them crap, and when they asked when they should use it, he told them that they'll know when, freaking again. But it was a little bit better in this one.
Every time.
Because he actually, like, wrote names on it.
Which is even funnier to me.
Slightly better, but they never looked at the names, which was so stupid.
Until it was time to use it each time,
yeah. Because they're like, we don't want to spoil the crazy plot twist. I'm like, they're not crazy plot twists. Like, literally the first thing they said, when Whit said, Mongol warriors, I said, oh, they're probably gonna go meet Marco Polo in this.
Also, it's funny because it means that Victoria apparently didn't see the table of contents at the beginning where there's a chapter called Marco Polo.
I didn't read the table of contents.
I did, I didn't read it, but I caught the name when I was scrolling through it. Oh, also, right at the beginning, my eyes glazed over, like, literally at the beginning when it gives, like, the whatever, like, the ISDB or whatever, ISBN number and stuff, the classification in the Library of Congress, and I saw that it marked it under number 3 topic, Marco Polo.
I put, if I can't tell when the children should use the objects, then why can they?
What is it labeled under? Space and time fiction, Mongols fiction, Marco Polo fiction, Kubla Khan fiction, Cousins fiction, Christian life fiction.
I love that Cousins is a subsection.
China history.
I want to read all the cousin books I can.
China history, Yuan dynasty fiction. Yeah.
Okay. I wish you didn't have... Okay, I actually kind of like this. I wish you didn't have to make all these trips, Mr. Whittaker said. I should be the one to help Albert. And I said, yes, you should, old man.
I like how Whit, when he explains the ring, he's like, oh, well, we swapped rings. I gave Albert a family ring, and he gave me this one. I'm like, so you gave Albert a family ring, he gave you that one? Please tell me you didn't give him
Jerry's
ring from the boat people. Please, either way, Whit. You got the raw end of that deal, given that you apparently gave away a real-life family heirloom in exchange for an imaginary piece of ugly jewelry. This is the opposite of Gavin's genius exchange in Dark Monopoly. You gave away something real and valuable for something imaginary.
There's no way I'd pass up on getting this sweet piece of bling, and I'm like, you're
Which I can only see when I stick my hand inside the imagination station.
These children are going to die, and Whit does not care at all. I said that because every single time they appear, they immediately almost get killed.
Can you pull up the Magic Treehouse book thing again? Do you still have it open?
I can reopen it.
Because the end of chapter 2 in this story, with the description of the imagination station making noises and like the way that it lifted off and stuff, I'll pull it up here.
I don't know if it's going to have it that far, though.
The end of the first chapter? See if it does.
Dinosaur.
In here it says, Patrick imagined he was in a jet plane. He pushed his body into the seat and waited. The machine jerked forward. The rumble grew louder. The machine whirled. Suddenly, everything went black.
I don't know if it gets as far. It doesn't get as far as actually describing them traveling.
Like the description of like it's making noises and shaking and then everything was black. It goes perfectly still. Is a blatant, almost completely perfectly plagiaristic ripoff of the Magic Treehouse, because every single book when they were coming back had the exact same words that were repeated when they traveled back in every book of like it was still. It was completely still when it's talking about that kind of thing, and like it was shaking stuff, and then he used that. And I remember that because in book 24, which is where they go to the San Francisco earthquake,
it cuts off.
It was
every
like
single chapter right before they travel.
It was very tumultuous, and so it was the one time it changed. It was like it was still. It was completely, perfectly, absolutely, peacefully still. What are you doing?
I couldn't see myself, so I didn't know if I was in frame or not.
So yeah, Whit giving them gifts. He's like, here, give nails to them. He's never seen nails before. I'm like, Whit, stop interfering with / creating history with your gifts. And then he gives the journal to Marco Polo. He's like, all right, and this the journal Voyage of Marco Polo or whatever. I'm like,
we assuming this
class. Assuming this is real. This is real history, real time travel. You have now caused the Vikings to find North America and made Marco Polo write his eponymous travels. So, and you brought nails to China.
So Marco Polo actually didn't write his travels. Someone else wrote them. He, I know
except in this universe.
Yeah, we had to read the travels of Marco Polo for my Chinese class.
How long is it?
It's pretty long. I have it on my computer if you want to look at it.
I don't really particularly
I didn't
know.
Actually read it. For class. I just pretended I did.
Do the readings.
No, I didn't.
What kind of university student are you?
Oh, I never do my readings for history class.
I told you.
I do them for all my other classes.
Anyways.
But Marco Polo actually got arrested a little while after he came back. And then there was a writer in the cell next to him, and he told him everything that happened. So everything that's written down is actually like really exaggerated and biased, because Marco Polo's the one telling it, and it became even more romanticized because the person he told it to was a romantic writer. He wrote romantic books.
They had that back in the 13th century?
He wrote romance books. And so then...
they barely had novels back then.
Also, there's no conclusive proof that Marco Polo ever did make it to China. I think
except that the Chinese have nails. Ha! Explain that one, atheists. Go on.
Because he actually isn't documented in any Chinese records. There is, in fact, a book that came out, I think, about 50 years ago called Did Marco Polo Actually Go to China? And then someone wrote a book in response called Yes, Marco Polo Went to China.
They sell them right beside each other in the bookstore.
Yeah, I think I made that joke too. And yeah, because Marco Polo isn't documented, and they call him Marco Polo, but he might have gone by a different name. He said he was a merchant, and he also said he met the Khan and stuff, but they don't have any proof of that. They actually think he might have traveled to Japan or something like that, or just somewhere close, but still somewhere in Asia, or
he went to North. He actually went to North America, but he just thought that it was China,
and it wasn't actually China. But it can be argued either way that he went or didn't go. But yeah.
So, there's rocks, like the giant eagles. At first, they're just like, oh
Are
yeah,
those
they're
actually real things?
no, they're mythological creatures. And so
I've never heard
when
of
they're
them.
like, we found a 6-foot long eagle feather in the desert with like the quills like that big around. They're
rodents of unusual size.
Yeah, they're rumored to belong to rocks, but we all know those don't exist. I'm like, so are we establishing that in this world of apparently real time travel, there's also apparently real mythological creatures involved in this too?
Yeah.
And then magnets come up, and I'm like, man, what is it with Marco Polo and magnets? First, where in time is Carmen Sandiego, and now this.
First of all, I called it. I sent like Devon like 50 messages that said I called it when Marco Polo showed up.
About. Oh, that's what it was? I thought you were at the end of the book.
And then when the what was I talking about here?
I don't know. I didn't know what you were talking about for any of it. I kept on trying to tell you to not tell me things because I hadn't read the book yet.
Okay, I called it that Marco Polo showed up. And then Devon said, don't tell me what you called. And I said, I could have called something and it wasn't that Marco Polo showed up. I said, I could have called it The Children Are Dead, or Connie and Jeff Got Married, or Leonard and Everett Came Back. This book is full of revelations, and Dylan Taylor turned out to be a bad fever dream after all. Happy ending.
So, once again in this book, as with basically all the previous ones, which is only 2 at this point, thank goodness for Beth, in literally all situations, for actually knowing things about history and science and all sorts of things. What does Patrick bring to the table in these adventures again, Victoria? He doesn't know what any words in English mean.
Beth does all the work.
He doesn't know what any words in English mean. And then she's also the one who's like, nails and magnets and science. I got all of this. And Patrick's like... the nail thing is actually really interesting when they're talking about like the architecture techniques. I'd never thought before about the different cultural techniques of attaching wood to wood for building. So I'm actually really curious now, like in real life, how that evolved in China over time. If the Chinese used notch brackets traditionally, and then the Mongols brought rope to them, and that would have been integrated together. And then I assume maybe Marco Polo, or somewhere around that time period at least, I assume, brought nails, and how that would kind of develop as those technologies combined over time. Something interesting to think about.
My next comment's about when the night arrives.
So as you mentioned before, I really like how
Why didn't they look at the names
before
they gave the packages?
In terms of what things...
They were so lucky that they didn't miss giving a present to someone. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I really like how Whit...
They could have caused like another world war just by forgetting that.
Despite the kids being dumb, it's nice how Whit has now perfectly streamlined the arcane process of the kids having things.
I like to think that if we were their ages, we would at least look at the names.
I can guarantee that we would.
It's a present. I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna hope the name on it is mine. So I
knew you were gonna say that. Yeah, I like how Whit has streamlined this arcane process by literally labeling them with for whom they are intended.
It made things so much easier.
It did, yeah.
I appreciated that because we didn't know who would. Like, how were they supposed to tell when they were supposed to give away the goblet? I thought they were supposed to, give away
Victoria,
at a different
trust
time.
in the heart of
but
the
it was
cards.
Like the bread, and it made no sense.
Trust in the heart of the cards.
No!
Is Marco Polo a game which is more commonly played in a pool than on dry land?
Okay, as much as I hate to admit it, the line where... I didn't know you could play it on dry land.
Why not?
I don't know. I was just played it in a pool. Actually, I never really played it growing up.
I'm sure I have played it while swimming, but I'm sure I've also played it on dry land. It seems like land would be more common because you spend more time on land than swimming. Unless you live in Toby.
Land before. But when Marco Polo and Patrick were actually saying goodbye to each other, and then he was like, maybe we'll meet again. He's like, I'll think of you every time I play I'm in the pool. That actually got kind of a little bit of a laugh of me, and then I was like so ashamed of myself for laughing at that.
The chapter titles in this book are Spoiler City. The book keeps on trying to set up something of a cliffhanger, which is immediately spoiled by the chapter title before it's actually in the book. There happened at least twice in the story where they're like, oh, it's a mysterious man has appeared who looks like he's from a foreign land. Who could he possibly be?
Chapter 5.
Chapter 4, Marco Polo. And then later towards the end, they're like, oh, a young girl who was in the thing before. She has appeared in the prison cell. Who could she be? This is so weird. Chapter 15, the princess. It's like...
I liked her, though.
And,
what about you? I liked her.
I did.
I felt like she just came out of nowhere, because she totally did. And the only reason she was there was just to give the tablet.
Why? At first, I thought maybe she knew what was going on, like, with the night and stuff, too. Because she's like, I've come to bring you the tablet. And I was like, is she, like, in the know? I was like, did Whit visit her and be like, you need to give this to them?
Actually, I think I thought she was Albert for a second or something like that. And then I was like, I want Albert to be a girl. And I'm like, wait, they've explicitly called Albert he, like, Whit's 50
descended
times.
From Genghis Khan. That's a lore. That is canon.
Whit is a mob boss.
That's true.
He's a mob boss. I said moth.
Yeah, so Whit, for whatever reason, decides that the best way to get them thrown into prison is to give them a little wind-up chicken doll. I'm like, man, Whit is just really screwing with history here, I feel. And I like how Whit's vague presents are getting more and more prognosticative as time goes on.
I don't know what that means.
Like, future seeing.
Oh, yeah.
And he gives a Chinese translated Bible to the girl,
that
which
will cause so much.
I don't know if that's supposed to exist at this point or not.
I don't think so.
Maybe it might, but I don't know. Like I'm like, this is so weird. He's messing with history. It's almost like this isn't real. And then Gandalf
come back. It's gonna be like the Potential and Elliot, and like the lights are all gonna be off, and then their parents are gonna be dead and stuff like that.
Yeah. Gandalf shows up with his eagles and saves the kids.
I yelled the eagles are coming when the rock showed up.
I was like...
And then I was just like, these kids are gonna die, and Whit still doesn't care.
What is going on?
I was laughing really hard. I was like, I hope they get eaten by the eagles.
And then the knight takes his helmet off, and he looks like a young Whit. I'm like, is it...
Yeah, I said it was James Armor!
I was like, I didn't see that at all.
Yeah, I said James Armor.
I didn't see that. I'm really glad I did.
I said it before you did.
I was like, is it James Armor saving the day? Or is it...
I said, I can't believe it. They did it. They really did it.
I saw those, but I didn't see James Armor. I'm glad I did. I was like, looks like a young Whit. Is it James Armor in to save the day? Or is this Albert Jr.? Or is this Albert... This is Albert's ancestor who traveled forward in time to Albert's time to travel back in time to the 13th century to save them. Where will the nonsense end?
Whit, I really like your ring. Can you give it to me? And Whit's like, take it. Please, take it. Give me your future ring. But Devon, you know what this means? You know what this means? Because if this really is a program in the imagination station, pretend it is.
Okay.
It means he made his OC not only the heroes of the stories he tells kids, but the ones he puts them in. It's James Armor, because they're like, it's a knight in shining armor, and he looks like Whit. And I was like, James Armor! He's gonna be James Armor just for the pun.
Oh.
You never thought of that?
No, I didn't.
No, they said armor, and I was like, knight! Looks like Whit! James Armor!
Yeah. Hey,
Whit is here to save
what
the
did
day.
you name that character again? James, Armor.
Armor! It's like Chris when he says a letter long enough to try to think of a word.
Armor. No, but I mean, because he looks at the character and he sees he's wearing armor. He's like,
it's like
James?
Chris,
Armor.
letter R. Armor.
It's like, what is it? It's an actual person. It's like their Wikipedia page, and the comment before it on the post is like, when you try
Can we all agree that James Armor is a Mary Sue?
When you try and name, we said that, yeah. When you try and name someone by looking at the objects around you, and then the person's name was like James Stapler Lamp or something like that. And then the ending, they get in the imagination station, they hit the red button, and they end up in a cave. And then the book ends, and it's like, read book 4. It's like, aw, snap.
I actually was really upset that it ended there.
I know, Victoria was like, I actually want to read the next book now.
I was like, I actually care? And I wish I didn't, but I looked at like the kind of blurb that they had about the next book, so I was just so gosh darn curious, because I didn't know when we were going to review this book, even though I knew that we were going to do it the next day.
Yes, you did.
And so I stupidly looked at the thing. We are going to find out the identity of the knight in the next book, and we're going to meet Albert.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I didn't think we would meet Albert until the last book.
It's the 4th book, which means this is now,
but isn't there, like, 6 books in this?
There's a bunch. No, it's like sets of 3, I think, is the way the series go. Magic Treehouse book was sets of 4 for an arc. This one is sets of 3, I believe.
Thought Magic Treehouse was 5.
It was 4. Believe me. And then this is hilarious. I'll put up
So now the Merlin missions are gonna start, guys.
I'll put up the book art for this here. This is from the
when
guide.
they're like climbing away from. Oh
no.
Oh wait, I forgot about this really quick. Sorry. When I can't believe I didn't send you a message about this. When they opened up the note from Whit after they gave her the Bible, and it said, "Time for you guys to escape. Run, use the nails to build a ladder and escape from the palace." And I said, oh, why didn't we think of that? Why didn't we think to build a ladder ourselves? We were like 8 years old to escape. Not like the ladder will break because we're just two dumb little kids and we will die.
When I read that,
I was laughing so hard.
When he said make a ladder out of the nails, at first I was thinking, is this some like have to do with like the magnets? Like, because if you magnetize the nails, they'll stick together.
Pull apart the palace beams, have the palace collapse, build their own ladder up the wall. I didn't realize that they would just like nail.
They made like a telephone pole thing. Yeah,
they just like did like a telephone pole. I was like, how is this even gonna work? I saw the picture and I was like, well, okay then.
Yeah.
That's not strong. Those nails must be very long.
They kept saying that over and over, though. Remember, they kept emphasizing over and over that they were very long, large, thick nails.
Do you think it just said normal nails, and then Paul was like, "You got to change this. We got to express how long they are every single time."
So back to the back to the book art. From the guide, this is the best justification ever. Book art from the guide. My take, Marianne Herring. Our first manuscript for Peril in the Palace didn't include the rocks, the mythical giant eagles. So we decided to rewrite the story so we could feature them on the cover. It was worth it, don't you think? So they wrote mythological creatures into the book just so that the cover would look cooler.
It was worth it, don't you think?
Yeah, because this now ties it into the same universe as Middle-earth.
I forgot to say this, too. I loved Patrick's reaction to being carried by the rock to the nest of the baby rocks compared to Beth's reaction. Because let me just paint the picture. They're being carried by like their shirts and
I know what Photoshop I'm gonna put there
of the rocks to like the nest with the baby rocks who are very hungry. And so then Beth, her reaction is, oh my gosh,
they think we're their babies.
So cute. They think, and she's like, they think we're the babies, so they're gonna put us in the nest so we can have some family bonding. And then Patrick's like, holy crap, we're gonna die! And I was like, one of these feuds is more realistic than the other one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was the first moment where I felt like Patrick was actually smarter than Beth.
So that's book 3. I think that's the end of like the first kind of sub-arc of the books.
The second book was so much better than this one. So much better.
Yeah, and these books are so short.
They are. They don't take long to read.
Which is good for you. Really You're
quick.
Busy.
It is. When you said like, oh, I had to read it in so many portions, it turns out I was asking Devon if he was done the book. He's like, I've been reading on the bus, but it's just taking a while. I'm like a third through, and I was like, it's not that long. He's like, oh, I thought you were talking about a different book.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about like an actual novel I'm reading. I'm like, no, I did that last night. the imagination stage
I was
book.
like, how long is it taking you to read this book?
Victoria, deep analysis, deepest lore.
I was doing a close reading of the book.
Deepest lore. This, given what we've done for the last 2 episodes, just right now, for 10 seconds, I'll just throw up any pretty art from the book so you guys can see.
It still is very nice artwork. There was one picture,
at the beginning, they keep on reusing.
Just didn't look good at all, and I was like, ugh.
They keep reusing the same kind of focal pictures at the beginning, but the rest of it's new.
I didn't like that they're reusing. I feel like there should be new ones.
So, what do you give the book, Victoria?
What did I give the last one?
I don't remember.
Probably like 4.
I'm gonna give this one. Yeah, I think it was high. Yeah. I can give this one 2 out of 5.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty fair. I'm going to give it 1.5 out of 5. Yep.
Cool. So that's
it was worth it, don't you think?
Yeah. Next time, we are starting our reviews for album 61.
Thank God.
We finally get to release those, so next time it'll be Feud of Mason County and Parker for President. We finally get to meet our favorite new character. We can talk about these people.
We can talk about it now!
Yeah.
Oh,
our favorite Morinozuka senpai.
Oh, Morinozuka senpai. He's gonna show up.
Yeah, it turns out that wasn't his name, but we figured out what his name really does stand for, and we'll get there. Not next episode, but
two episodes after.
2 more after that.
2 after that.
Because the one after the next one will not be album 61. That'll be the November Odyssey review.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm so excited to talk about this.
And then next book review, I'm not sure if it's unclear if the Black Herd preview that's going to come out
is the whole book.
Is the whole book or just a preview? If it is the whole book,
then we'll be doing another versus.
That'll be at the least that'll be the next book review. If not, then obviously the next book review will be the Revenge of the Red Knight, the 4th Imagination Station book.
Yeah.
But until then, next time, album 61, we get to use up some of those canned episodes that we've had sitting around for a couple months. We can finally get those.
Our hair's going to be all different lengths.
Oh, it's going to be so different. You're not even going to recognize us.
I'm not going to live here. Wait, yes, I am.
Yes, you will. Yes, they were all recorded in Vancouver.
They were like right after I got here. So they're a couple months old.
Yeah, 2. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is a couple.
Yep.
Yeah,
right.
Language. Okay, so until then, thank you for joining us on our. Thank you for joining us on our side of the YouTube. I've been Devon Francis, also known as Leonard Maltzner.
What is the point of that?
Because we said a couple, and I'm like, hasn't been a couple. It's been 2, and I'm like, which is a couple?
And I'm excited to talk about Morinozuka senpai.
See ya.
Peace.
Let's stop.